everybody, welcome back to Majestic Collectibles. So I am rebagging, reboarding, resorting my personal collection. I mentioned it just briefly on the last video, the what we sold on eBay video. And I just wanted to cover some stuff. I'm really not going to show you much of the comics, and this isn't a very exciting batch anyway. So, you know, unless you're a Gru fan, I got my almost all my Gru collection done. I got to get my my Destroyer Duck in. I haven't put that in yet. And what happened is 20 years ago we moved down here, and before I moved I sold off several thousand comics so I could put the down payment on the house. A couple years later I sold off most of my Gold and Silver Age books because I had to pay some medical bills for my son who was sick at the time. Everything worked out great, but I don't have near the collection I used to, and most of the good stuff is all gone. So I don't know, there's nothing terribly exciting here, but I wanted to go over some stuff on the rebagging and boarding because it is important. Most products now are pretty ubiquitous, which means they all do about the same thing for the same price, the same way, same quality, whatever. These are boards that I have pulled out and stuff. And you can see that one's brown on the back. It's just a one-sided buffered. You don't see those much anymore. They were like a short-term board dealers could take, you know, put them in your show stock or stuff on the shelf. And I don't know if you can see that one. It's got kind of a reverse image on it. It's got a little bit of that greasy pizza box look. All these things are signs that you probably need to swap some stuff. Now the reason it gets that, there's a little more of a reverse image. You might see it better. That top edge is burned pretty good there. It's pulling the acid out of the book. So as it decomposes the acid from the paper and the ink, it goes into the board. And if you don't have an acid-free board, it really doesn't have any place to go. So it just kind of sits there and turns dark brown eventually and kind of gets really crumbly and stuff. So there are benefits to it, but you do want to put in the right product. Here's another one-sided, that's a buffered board. So they basically just spray, you can see some streaks in it. They spray like a calcium carbonate buffer. So the trick here, and again, you don't see these much, but if you do, be really careful because what these are is acid-free at the time of manufacture. They do not remain acid-free, and when they get that reverse image, they don't either. I usually try and swap these out. So here's a new board. So even though these don't look bad, you can tell there's a definite difference in the whiteness there. You want to swap these out probably every 5 to 7 years. If you're using the short-term boards, honestly, every couple, 3, which gets real expensive, so you don't sell or save a whole lot by doing the just the buffered board. And that's white on both sides. There's a shiny sign, there's kind of a dull side, it's like an aluminum foil deal. But if it's a true acid-free board, it doesn't really matter. So it's acid-free all the way through. You can use either side on that. The bags, and I'm not endorsing these are just what I use. They pretty much all do the same thing. You can see there it says polypropylene. If you see something that says polyethylene, do not use it. Those are the ones that turn green and brown and yellow. They have a real high acid content that gets into the comics. It's really, really bad for them. Don't use saran wrap. I still see that. Don't put them in Ziploc bags. I still see that. So it's just something, you know, to keep in mind if you're using a lot of this type of product. I use the resealable. I really like that, and the early resealables were a real pain because what they did is they put the adhesive right here on the flap, and you'd move the comic inside out and catch on it. Now it's on the back. And now it's not so bad. And I've had really good luck with them. You can still damage the comic if it sticks, but it's a lot easier to work with if you do that. If you have nice stuff and deep pockets, you're gonna need deep pockets. You use the Mylar. This is the only true archival grade, is the Mylar. It's a vinyl, not all that different from what they made vinyl records from, honestly. You don't have to put a board in here with them. I usually do on the 2 mil because they're pretty flimsy. On the 4 mil, which are a lot thicker, I don't put a board on them just because, you know, I don't have to. But I don't use very many anymore. I used to have quite a few, but I sold off most of my Golden Age books. Now there is something to keep in mind here. So on these Mylars, and this is, well, just so you can see it, I put a board. They're kind of stiff, and if you got to be careful putting stuff in, because if you catch an edge, you can shave a corner off on a Mylar bag. They can be that sharp. You can get cuts on your hands when you're putting stuff in there. It's not unusual. 4 mil is even worse. It's like little X-Acto knife edges, and they've had open tops, flaps, rounded, curled tops. You know, they've tried about everything. Just be really super careful with it, is my point there. And then I'm going to show you here. And this is my Futurama one. I didn't even remember I had this. I love the show. And I think it had a $5 sticker on the old tag. But you can see it's pretty clean. It looks good. You don't have to tape it. It does come off when you pull that up, though. Be a little gentle, because if you pull up quick, you'll peel, that top flap will just peel right off. It's not really supposed to, but because it's creased, you can just, yeah, peel that off as neat as you want on that. But they work really super well on that. Something I recommend, you know, again, there's not a lot of different product out there, but put together a good polypropylene bag, and you can use resealable or not, totally up to you, and a good acid-free board, and you should be good. You should be good for a really long time. Here's one that I had when I was a kid. Now, this came out before I was born, I think, or real close, so I probably picked it up at a flea market. And this thing's really rough, but I saw the movie in the theater with my mom like 2 or 3 times, watched it on TV. It's a weird little show if you've never seen it. It is out there a ways, but kind of fun. And even though it's beat up, I wanted to preserve it just because it is a piece of my childhood. Actually, it's probably in better condition than me. I hate to say that anyway. And you know, if you guys have any questions on the bagging or the boarding, or anything else on this, you know, let me know. I'm happy to answer it. If you want to see more of that type of video, collecting supplies and that type of thing, just give me a shout in the comment section, and we can do more. That's it for now, though, and thanks for watching.